Mindy McIntyre and I are co-chairing the contest this year. Mindy's been involved in it for how many years? Long time.
Long time.
Long
Just
time.
behind the scenes. Yeah, helping format entries, judging, and so
Everything. Yeah.
yeah.
And this is, I think, my third year co-chairing. I co-chaired with ZJ Zupor the last couple of years. And I think we will go into our slides at this point. We'll give that a shot, see if that will work for us. And we'll go through the contest, everything from prizes to synopsis writing to who the judges are going to be. And then we will, at the end, have a chance for everybody to write Q&A. You're welcome to write your questions in the chat if you want to, or if you want to hold them to the end and do a hand raise and we'll have you speak live. However you want to do it, it's fine. So I'm going to screen share. And it's not there, so hang on.
Should I go get our tech support?
No, I think let me give it a shot here.
Okay.
Okay, let's see here.
Getting the slideshow to pop up.
Oh, okay. I think we got it. Okay.
I'll just be here until.
Okay, so welcome. Are you seeing it on your end, Mindy?
No.
Did you
Oh,
share your
shoot.
screen?
I'm sorry?
Did you share your screen?
Yeah, I did. Hang on, I'm gonna have to get out of this. Okay, let's see here. Let me try it again. There we go.
Oh, there we are.
Are you seeing it now?
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you. Sorry, folks. This is our first stab at this. Okay. All right, this is our brand new logo. 2 years ago, we rebranded the whole contest to really give it more of a professional flair, to make it more attractive to people all across the country, not just keep it very local and regional. And I think has paid off nicely. So we're happy about having done that. Contest.rmfw.org is where you can go and see everything that's written out in more detail than we're going to go through right now. And introductions, Sue Hinkin. I've been in the Littleton critique group since 2014, I think. And Mindy is our coordinator and captain of the ship for that wonderful critique group. I was voted Writer of the Year this last year, which is amazing, which is really, I guess, kind of supporting people who are give back to the organization, which has been incredibly a wonderful opportunity for me to learn and grow, being part of Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers, and then publishing. And then Mindy McIntyre, who's been involved with this organization as a critique group leader. She's a fabulous writer. She's won this contest. She's been the Jasmine winner for volunteer service to the organization.
I have not.
Maybe that's coming up.
That's okay though. I don't need to win anything.
Something good.
I don't remember.
Something.
I want appreciation. Yes.
Absolutely. So anyway, as you can tell, we're very very excited to be part of Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers, and it's meant a lot to both of us. The contest is a fabulous opportunity to dip your foot in the whole publishing world, from having to deal with rejection to learning how to work with editors, the whole range. And I think risk taking and resiliency are so key to success in this industry. You know, not if you don't put it out there, you're not going to have any kind of success. And if you put it out there and you don't hit the jackpot immediately, well, that's life, and that's life particularly in this business. You've just got to be resilient. You've got to have grit. You've got to have tenacity. And so for a lot of people, this is a first step into those areas. Great preparation for submitting to agents and editors. When you have a chance to review the feedback you get from folks who are critiquing your work, you'll have a much solider manuscript to put forth. You know, the feedback, the learning, the confidence. I was a finalist, oh my God, I think 2017 or 18. And it was, I don't know, it just was really a wonderful kind of affirmation that, yeah, you can do this. And that book that I finaled with back then became the first book that was published. So it was very exciting. Networking, access to agents and editors. You know, these days it's very hard to even have an editor practically read your queries, but they are very open to people that they have met through conferences and definitely through contests that they've judged. So it's a wonderful entree. And along with that, also it's fun, and there are prizes. You get stuff, just cool.
Mhm.
Mindy, do you want to take over the next couple slides?
Sure. So yeah. So about the contest, it's for unpublished writers of commercial length fiction. So if you have self-published anything, any fiction pieces, if you've self-published or have been traditionally published with fiction, then unfortunately you're not eligible. But if you've never, published, then you're good to go. And so it's $35 for a regular entry. A regular entry, you still get a score sheet back, and on that score sheet will be a list of benchmarks, and your judges will tell you whether you hit them completely, whether you fully hit them, whether you partially hit them, or whether you missed it completely. And then if you do the $60 for the full critique, then they'll tell you whether you hit it, what you did well, what you need work on, and then they'll give you suggestions for making it better. And so, which is really helpful. And then, so you submit the first 4,000 words of your manuscript. You don't just pick 4,000 out of the middle or your favorite chapter, or it has to be the start of the manuscript, and then a 250 word synopsis to go with it. And that, it's really, really hard to cram your whole story down into 250 words. So, but if you take that helicopter view, you go way up high and just pick out the pieces that are important. And you can see which pieces are important. You can preview what those benchmarks are, and we'll get to that website link here in a little bit on a different slide, so that you know what you need to do, what the synopsis needs to include. And everything is listed in the facts section too, on the website, on the RMFW website. And there's links at the bottom too that'll take you to the benchmarks for the contest. There's the facts, there's the guidelines. So everything on there, if you have time to go through and read it, it'll tell you everything you need to know. And then, so it's broken down into 5 different categories. And so mainstream and other, Susie Brooks, who is Sue's publisher, she is going to be the VIP judge for that category. And so she will, what happens is, if you haven't ever entered before, is the people who hit the most, fully hit the most benchmarks, those people rise to the top as the finalists, and there'll be 5 finalists in each category. And then those 5 finalists go on, your entries go on to these 5 VIP judges who are agents or editors. And then those VIP judges decide who the winner is going to be. But that gets your work in front of them, which is great. And we do give them a kind of a little questionnaire to fill out. Some do, some don't. So if they do, awesome, that's an extra set of feedback, even if you don't win. And if you don't, well, we tried. we can't strong arm them into it, unfortunately. and then mystery thriller, Hadley Ramsey is judging that. Young adult, middle grade, Jolene Haley, she was a judge also last year. Allison, and Susie Brooks, they were all VIP judges last year, I believe, weren't they?
Yes.
If anything, they were all three taking pitches too. And then women's fiction and romance, Allison Lyons, and then sci-fi, fantasy, spec, and horror. So, and so if you don't see where it fits in to one of the bottom 4 categories, it's probably other next to mainstream. And so, yeah, Ben Miller Callahan will be taking over that one. And if you, and I don't know if this is on, if I should cover it now, if it's on the later slide, but if you are a finalist in the contest, you get a pitch session with an agent or editor. It might not be one of these agents or editors, but we'll give you an opportunity to pick from the list which agent or editor that you want to pitch to. And it can be via Zoom, or it can be in person if they're going to be attending the conference and you're going to be attending the conference. If you're attending the conference this year, you automatically get a pitch session with your conference fees. So if you attend the conference and you become a finalist, you'll get 2 pitch sessions, not with the same person. You can get them with 2 different people. So.
Mindy, in the chat, somebody asked if the judges change regularly.
If the judges change they do. It's just a matter of who we can find, who's willing to do it. Their schedules are extremely busy, and so tracking them down, we take the ones that are willing to come and are good at what they do. All right. And then judging. So the judging, there are 2 judges that are going to look at your work when you submit. One is a judge and one is a captain. Judges are either they're very experienced in critique. Some have won the contest. Some have finaled in the contest. Some have been judging for years. Some are published. Some are not. But they all have really good experience. And then the captains have even more experience. And so first the judge will get a hold of it, and they work as a team to critique your work. So the first judge gets it, they go through your work, they fill out the benchmarks and decide what's been hit, what hasn't been hit, and then the captain takes over, and the captain goes through your work as well with a fine-tooth comb and makes sure that what the judge said that they agree with or they disagree with. And so they're welcome to agree or disagree, but they're not allowed to change what the first judge said. And like with all things, everybody's work is subjective. You know, you're going to find people who love your stuff and people who don't. But the people who are judging the contest and judging these characters or judging these categories are judging the genres that they know the best and that they love. So they'll have a really firm handle on whether you're hitting the benchmarks overall as a writer and also for the genre that you're writing in. And so it is tailored towards that specific category and genre. And the captain then will add their comments and say, most of the time it's, I agree with Judge 1. I think you did this really well. I think this needs a little bit of work. And then if you have a critique, they'll offer suggestions. Both judges will offer suggestions, and they feed off of each other like they would in a critique group. So they're not working blindly and independently from each other. They know what's being said, and so they can give you the most comprehensive feedback as possible. And then we covered the part with the finalists, yeah, where the five people who hit the most benchmarks fully will go on to be the finalists, and then the VIP judges will choose who the actual winner is in each category. And then, so the benchmarks are broken down into different sections. And so, and when we took the original score sheet, because back in the day, it used to be just kind of a group of benchmarks all lumped together, but then it was tough to tell based on the score what pieces you hit and what pieces you didn't, unless it was explained really well in the comments section. So we worked with somebody who works for a local agent and had her go through the whole benchmarks, and we broke them down on what they were, and then she tailored it to what she knows agents and editors are looking for. And so all of the benchmarks listed are exactly what they're looking for. So you'll know how close you're coming to being, you know, to your work being exactly what they want. So you'll know what you need to work on and what you don't, what you're doing really well. And so formatting is basically for just a following the rules thing. Every agent and editor who accepts submissions, their guidelines are on their website and they expect you to follow them. So we have those types of guidelines for this contest. So you will get points based on whether you follow the rules or not. And so if you don't use the Times New Roman 12-point font, you use some fun font that looks great on the page, that's a missed benchmark. So you have to follow the rules. And then there's the genre and the opening hook. And that's always really important because knowing where to start a novel is one of the hardest things. And so so they'll let you know whether they think the story's starting in the right place, whether they felt like they were grabbed, you know, whether you're really, where you entered in the correct genre, the correct category in the contest. And then how you do on point of view, which when I first started writing, I had no idea what that was. But so this has been really, it's a really good, the benchmarks are a really good guideline, like just a snapshot to see where you are in the process, to see where your work is in the process. Characterization, it's going to be, yeah, whether your characters feel real, whether they feel unique, or whether they all sound alike, you know, whether they sound like a 12-year-old girl from 1920 or a 50-year-old man from 2010, you know, they'll look at things like, yeah, can they feel the era? Is the character true to themselves? And so, and the emotional content, whether the judges feel sucked in, whether they feel like they're rooting for the characters, you know, oh gosh, this protagonist, oh, I hope she wins, you know, oh, she's got a good goal going. And then, oh, and that's part of characterization too. Do your characters have goals? Are they, that's where they're gonna judge you on what does your protagonist want? How do they intend to get it? What obstacles are standing in their way? Making sure that you're hitting all of those types of things, and that your antagonist, in the same respect, you know what the antagonist wants and why they're butting up against your protagonist. And an antagonist doesn't necessarily have to be a person either. You know, it could be a person struggling with themselves or struggling with a situation, but that kind of thing needs to still be identifiable in your work. And then the narrative, how well does it flow through? Do you feel like you're in the middle of the story? Do you feel like you're on the ground with the characters, or does the author keep interrupting and pulling you out of the story, telling you what's going on instead of letting the characters experience it for themselves? And then the dialogue. Does the dialogue sound real? Does it feel like these are real people talking to each other? The scene craft is do your scenes have purpose? Are they there for a reason? Do they, what it is you're trying to get across, what new information you're trying to get across to the reader, is it coming across? Do they have a beginning, a middle, and an end? Do they have purpose in the story, or are they just sheer entertainment? Grammar and mechanics. And so granted, if you get an agent or an editor, they all have teams of people that can fix that for you, but for purposes of the contest, it does matter. We do look at that. And then the synopsis, the toughie. So yeah, there's different benchmarks that fall under two different sections of the synopsis. So one covers the plot and the character arc. And so you want to make sure that the reader understands who your characters are and what they're trying to achieve. And then, and that they actually change by the end of the book. So, you know, your character starts out a miserable teenager, and by the end of the story, she's empowered and feels great, kind of thing. So the whole story has to be told. And then the second part of the synopsis benchmarks, you want to make sure the judges are going to look and see if they can figure out what the inciting incident is. Whoops, it's gone, my cheat sheet. So,
Sorry.
that's okay. If they can identify the turning points, if they can pick out the black moment, the climax, the resolution, you know, the whole story is told and no details are left behind. And so, and if you introduce a character in your synopsis, you need to know how it turns out in the end. So they have to have purpose in the synopsis as well. So if you bring up somebody in the synopsis, we need to know what happens to them by the end of the synopsis. And so.
Okay, sorry about that. It won't let me.
No, that's okay.
It won't let me go backwards. It usually does, but
well, then we'll keep moving forward.
we'll just keep moving forward.
And Sue is really good at writing synopses, so she's taking this one.
It's one of the most difficult things for me and for most writers, I think. I wanted to just shout out too that the list of benchmarks can be found online on the Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers website. So if you want to learn more about the specifics, go there and we'll help you. You'll find it. On
the contest page where it tells you, you know, welcome to the contest, and it tells you the dates and who the VIP judges are going to be. At that page on the website, if you go to the very bottom of that page, there's a link that says, I think it says contest benchmarks on it. And you'll be able to click on that and you can read every single thing you're going to be judged on. Those benchmarks are literally taken right off the score sheet, right off what the judges see. And so that's what you're aiming for.
Yeah, I think it's worth your going and taking a look at that. It's really helpful. Again, the synopsis is really tough. And we used to have a synopsis, I think, of in the contest of 750 words, but it's kind of evolving, as many things are in social media, to a shorter, more condensed synopsis is what agents seem to be looking for. So we're asking for a 250 word synopsis, which is basically a page, and condensing it down to the real essentials. But let me just reiterate what Mindy said. We need to get the complete story. In the past, I've had a couple folks whose manuscripts I was judging say, I'll tell you this much, but I don't want to tell you the ending because I want it to be a surprise. Well, you know what? Agents and editors don't want any surprises. They're in the business of selling your book. They're not in the business of being surprised. So make sure that all the, from the inciting incident to the various components of the story, all of these things are in that 250 word synopsis. And again, it says, Mindy also said that 30,000 foot view looking down at it is brutal. I'm the kind of person that when I think I'm going to write a short story, it turns into a chapter, of a 400 page novel. It's very hard for me to to be concise. But it's critical. And that's what we're going to be looking at. And it's an area that trips up a lot of people. The manuscript might be really great. And then the synopsis is, you can tell that you did it at the last minute and you didn't quite know what you were doing and you were frustrated, and it can show that. But that is a critical piece. And you got it. The reader has to come out of it knowing who your main character is, getting a flavor for the setting, even if it's a small taste. And the conflict has to be very clear. You know, what the protagonist's driving want or need is, what's getting in their way, and how they're going to overcome the challenges. One of the best articles that I've read on how to write a synopsis is by Jane Friedman. And I would suggest, even if you feel like you are comfortable writing synopses, you'll learn something from this. And janefriedman.com/how to write a novel synopsis. And it's really terrific. Winning.
Who doesn't love that?
We don't get participation trophies. You know, if you're a winner, it's really exciting. There's some money involved. One of the best things I think that we started doing just last year is at the final lunch brunch on the last day of the Colorado Gold Conference, we had the winners read their first chapter. And we actually had an agent go up to one of the winners afterwards saying, I loved your voice, I loved what I heard, send me your manuscript. And so it's another opportunity to get your work out there. And I know it's terrifying if you're not comfortable speaking in front of people, but it's really worth it. And in the feedback for the conference, it was one of the conference goers, one of their favorite things to hear from the new writers. Major bragging rights on social media, and there's a lovely invitation-only reception with other folks who were winners or finalists, and all the agents are invited. Can't guarantee that they're all going to come, but it's, again, another opportunity. And Mindy mentioned that you win an extra pitch session with an agent if you're attending the Colorado Gold Conference, or a virtual pitch session if you're not attending. So you still get a chance to make that connection. So it starts coming up real soon, April 4th, and all entries
a week
have
from
to be in by
tomorrow.
May 1st.
Yeah.
Finalists are announced July 5th. The manuscripts are then sent to the VIP judges. We get them back sometime in August, and then the announcement is made at the Colorado Gold Rush Conference in September, the end of September. So it's been a tough couple years. And 2022 is a new opportunity, so definitely take it. Even if you've like Ben, he's entered the conference before, or the contest before, you know, do it again. It's an opportunity, networking. That's what we're all about in this business, is getting your work out there in front of people. Yeah. And that's what we attempt to do. And we will go to Q&A. I'm going to stop share and go back to our pictures, our thumbnails. Let's see here.
Well, Mike, yeah.
And somebody had a question. Let me hit chat and see if we have anything new. The question is, if I had a successful pitch already, would it be worth trying to submit this again anyway?
Yes. If you have not won the category that you entered, I would recommend entering again. You can be a finalist in the same category more than once. I speak from experience because I've never won, but I've finaled a couple times in the same category. And it's nice because when you get a pitch session, you get to pick who you pitch to. So you don't have to pitch to the same person that you pitched last time. And if you're going to the conference, oh my goodness, I highly recommend signing up for a roundtable session with an agent or editor. It costs, I don't know, it's usually like $30 or somewhere around there. But you give them the first 10 pages of your manuscript and then also a blurb, book jacket blurb, not the synopsis. And then the people you're in the roundtable with, they critique it. And also you get critique from the agent or editor, and it's extremely helpful.
Yeah, you can't get that kind of attention unless you go to a conference and get involved in a roundtable or enter the contest. Those are your entrees these days. Dustin just asked me, did you say winners are announced on July 4th? Finalists are. Winners are not announced until the Colorado Gold Conference in September. Do we have other questions? Raise your hand or shout it out. Unmute yourself, Andrew.
Can I? So I did ask that original question, but I wanted to expand a little bit. So this is something that I submitted a couple years ago, and it didn't final. And then I made it better, and then I went to the conference last year, and an agent liked it and wants me to submit a manuscript. But I'm wondering then, if I already have an agent interested, would it be worth trying to make it even better and submitting to try to final again?
Absolutely. You don't have an agent locked down. I mean, you can, that agent may not, ultimately after reading it, may not want it. So yes, give yourself every option and as many options and many possibilities as you can garner, go for it. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, as my grandma used to say.
Thank you.
I'm sure this is discussed on the contest page, but submissions are virtual, correct?
Yes. Yeah, they are not paper submissions. And so it gets uploaded through the website. When the link goes live for entering the contest and you click on it, you fill in all your details and then you upload your entry.
Okay, thank you.
And then behind the scenes, we're going to take, we have volunteer judges and captains who have already signed up and told us how many entries they're willing to take, how many critiques they're willing to do. And then we take and we match and what categories they want to judge in. And then we match them with entries.
And in the past, we've had, prior to COVID, we capped it at 200 entries. That's really pretty much all we could accommodate. With COVID, the last 2020, we had not as many as usual. We started gaining ground again last year in terms of entries, and my guess is we'll probably hit 200 again this year. So that's just FYI. And they're fairly equally distributed between the categories.
And it's completely anonymous. The judges and captains have no idea who you are. And they are instructed that if they happen to recognize an entry, because they've read it before, they've been in a critique group with that person, or they've heard somebody telling them, hey, yeah, I'm writing a story about this alien from this planet. And they go, oh, I know who that is. And they can place a face or a name with the entry, then they give it back to us and then we reassign it because it has to be completely anonymous. They don't know who you are, you don't know who they are. And then that way, no emotion gets in the way of giving feedback.
Good point. Any other questions? Okay. Well, shoot an email to contests@Rocky Mountain Fiction Writers if a question does come up. We're really excited to have you involved. We also we're just amazed sometimes by the wonderful work that we read that comes across our desks, and they're not always the winning ones, but there's some fabulous, fabulous writers in our orbit, and the Colorado writing community particularly is pretty amazing.
Mhm.
So good luck, and we'll look forward to reading what you have to write.
You got this. You got this. Go read the benchmarks. You got this.
Absolutely.